Welcome to my second podcast of my Son de Franc, and I want to thank you for joining me today. The first thing I want to talk about is MGTOW, MGTOW, otherwise known as Men Going Their Own Way. This has been kind of more compared to an extreme point of view. This is a point of view of people who are not necessarily seeking relationships or anything along those lines. Like, you can't throw one part of a group of like-minded individuals out because you saw it and you didn't like that part. You have to accept everything that comes with this. Like, if that's what you're trying to, it's not a force-fed thing. Like, when you click on something and you understand it, it comes with the understanding that there are people involved. Like, there's human beings behind these platforms, these channels, these creators. All this content, all this material, all these messages were made to promote men and success, and to promote economic and community. There's so many different members with so many different points of views and so many different ways that they can get this message out, which we call the red pill. Now, MGTOW, it's a lifestyle, I guess, if you look at it, that they don't necessarily seek out women. They don't necessarily seek out dating coaches and marriage counseling. Like, they don't necessarily believe that they need to attain a certain stature or like a certain, they don't need to have a certain lifestyle that leads them to a proper relationship or keeping a girl or doing anything outside of just living, just existing as man. Like, individualists, I guess some people call them. There's so many different varieties of speakers, of intellects, of experts, and one of the topics covered is men that go their own way. It's not like men that shun women. It's not that. It's not men who rebuke marriage. It's not men who consider women inferior. It's neither of these concepts. And to conceptualize any of this is kind of lying, kind of deceiving, because the deception in of itself is saying that they interact with women for the purpose to validate them, and they don't. And that's why it's important to understand that they're not seeking out women. As far as toxic masculinity, now, I've heard this term since growing up, and we used to call this macho, that somebody is very macho, that they're very misogynistic, and that's the term toxic masculinity. Today we just called them misogynist, mostly a macho person, and it's basically an ego driven masculine person. It could be a female, it could be a male, but if you're very narcissistic and very self-centered and very what's the word I'm looking for, demeaning, like you're a demeaningful person, like you just want to shine a bad light on everybody because you feel like you have all the answers. Like, that is a toxic masculine person, and that's what we call them today. with all the poor experiences, all the bad, negative experiences, here we are now, and we are talking about masculinity, and we are talking about femininity, and there's a pro-feminist world out there that is unseen to the eye, but they still lurk and prey just as bad as toxic masculine people, and which I will, refer to as machos. And so yeah, there are a lot of machos out there. There are a lot of macho egos out there, and they don't necessarily have to be a man. They don't necessarily have to be a female. The feminist movement was very, pro-chosen female, pro-chosen feminist at that, and they would be platformed and they would be promoted to successful platforms, and they were the only ones that were chosen. When these type of women, who are toxic themselves, they try to compare one woman to the other in order to platform their feminist group, members, and demean the rest of us. This was, this came into play, a lot when they were saying, this woman's not worthy, this woman's worthy, because that was their member, that was their group, that was their clique, and that's how they were very much inner circle. They were very much cliquey, and to this day they are very much pro themselves, picking out which woman is not woman enough and saying, you're not feminine enough, your femininity is far inferior than that of my peers, than that of my platform, than that of this clique that I choose to interact with and promote. So that in and of itself is a toxic environment, and I just want to speak on that alone, because the other part of that concept is that there are men who are not man enough. There are men who are not real men. Masculinity, right? Masculinity messages that their talking points are being directed at men, the male gender, that they need to be comparative to their ideal of man. And even if they themselves are masculine, or they see feminine as masculine, their concept is force-fed and kind of shadowing this male population, because they believe that they are not far less than the comparative in their head. And that's very sad. That is very degrading, and that is very inhumane. Like, when you want to treat somebody right, you don't come into a space where is a majority of people who are living in peace and amongst themselves in the most tranquil way, bringing positive messages onto these platforms, and degrading them and tearing them down and using them as show pigs, which a point of view is coming from the heart. It's coming from an experience. It's coming from the talking points of decency, of humanity. And this is degrading. You don't say this gender is not fit to call itself gender. That doesn't make sense. That does not make sense. And so that's how silly it sounds to me. And I just want you guys to be aware, more informed, before you're checking off things on your list that you think that you got it. These concepts, they're very, very calculated. They're very scammy, and they leave people susceptible to these vulnerable positions, that they're being force-fed false information and misinformed about these messages that I want to encourage you guys to be aware that, you know, there are some forces out there trying to block, and at the end of the day, what matters is that we go forward and push positivity into the world. And a lot of people have done that in the past, and there's no reason that we need to stop, you know. And a lot of us are able to write. A lot of us are able to talk to people and socialize on social media. A lot of people are able to interact and receive this message. And if that's all you do and it helps you, then that is great. You know, I hope it molds your life into what you want it to be. And I just, you know, I just want to thank you for joining me today. And you know, I just wanted to take some time. I wanted to take some time out of my day and tell you, you know, that all your hard work and determination will pay off. And if you receive any of these actual, you know, messages of how red pill can work for you, then this is fine. But like, if you're receiving it from somebody outside of these groups, like, you need to be careful, because like some of them will even reach out to the groups and ask them to be platformed, and you need to be careful, because these are like scammy people. Opportunists will do just to self-promote, and this is a feminist concept, and I've always said we could do better, we can improve, and nothing can stop us so long as, you know, we stay on track, on the right path. This will lead to the road to success, and this only. Positivity and good vibes to you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining, and please join me again next time. I will be back soon. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.